This is a picture that was taken a few years ago with me and my friend Isaac Asimov and his wife and now widow, Dr. Janet Jepson. Isaac was my pal for 40 years. We liked each other a lot. I was going to read you maybe. I thought, I got a couple of letters from him talking about how much he likes my stories and telling me, don't argue with people, don't fight with people. I said, yeah, I'm a great one to tell that to. Isaac died last April. Isaac Asimov was one of the really great men of our time. And this may seem a strange time to do an obituary for him almost a year later, but in fact, not a day should go by that you don't hear the name Isaac Asimov, because he was very important to all of us. And I wrote an homage to him, an obituary to him that I'm not going to read you in its entirety, because I break up, and that's not very becoming on television. But since the Sci-Fi Channel, when it began, dedicated the channel to him, I thought I would read you this little bit that I had in the magazine of fantasy and science fiction, and it would help us to remember Isaac. Isaac was as much a part of this magazine through the years as paper and ink, and though gone, he remains with us. As he remains with the uncounted thousands of young people who read his essays and stories and went into careers of scientific inquiry, who understood the physical universe because he made it graspable, who became better able to handle their lives because he refused to allow them to accept dogma and bigotry and mendacity in place of common sense and logic. For all of those among you who will mourn him in your own way, the most I have to offer, having been chosen to say goodbye to Isaac in this special venue that he called home for so long, is this one last anecdote of how he viewed himself and his imminent passage. Janet was with him at the end, of course, and his daughter Robin. Janet told me the day before he died that toward the end Isaac had trouble speaking. He could only manage a word or two, and from time to time, then he would say, "I love you," to Janet, and he would smile. But every once in a while, he would murmur, "I want," and he never finished the sentence, just, "I want." And Janet would try to perceive what he needed, and she would say, "A drink of water, Isaac, or something to eat?" And Isaac would look dismayed, annoyed, chagrined that he couldn't put the sentence together, this great thinking machine that at the end could not put a sentence together. And after a moment, he'd let it slide, and he'd forget that he had even spoken, until the last came on the Sunday before he went back into the hospital for the last visit, when he managed to say very clearly, I want Isaac Asimov." And Janet told him he was Isaac Asimov, that he had always been Isaac Asimov, but he looked troubled, because that wasn't what he meant. And then Janet remembered that Isaac had told her some time ago, before he began to slip into abstraction and silence, that if there ever came a time when he didn't know who he was, if there came a time when his mind was not sharp, that he wanted to be let go to sleep quietly, that extraordinary measures should not be taken. And Janet understood that he was saying that he wanted to be Isaac Asimov again. He wanted to be what he was. He wanted to be Isaac Asimov. Then, in that final week before 2:30 a.m. New York time on Monday, April 6th, he was holding Janet's hand, and he looked up at her and he said, very clearly, the last he would ever say, he said, "I am Isaac Asimov." Yes, he was. Yes, indeed he was.